Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our live Q&A. I'm Mark first.
I'm Sam.
So we'll be doing a quick roundup of the best headphones you can get in 2018 so far that we've tested. We'll be focusing on that part for the first couple minutes of not minutes, but for the first part of the live Q&A. But then we'll have an open questions and answers part near the end where you can ask us anything about our tests, about the headphones themselves. Of course, we do want your feedback during the Q&A itself, so if there's a headphone you have a question on, don't hesitate. But yeah, so we'll start with the best of list of 2018, best Bluetooth headphones. Start with that.
Sure.
So the best Bluetooth
Do we
headphones.
need to keep the 800 here?
Yeah, it's probably a bit biased to have the internet in the middle of the
But
table.
I mean, we can keep the stand.
The stand.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
All right. So for the best headphones of
put it-
2018,
Put it over there. All right.
we have a heated battle between the Bose QC35 and the WH-1000 XM3.
QC35 2.
QC35 too, yes, to be precise, yeah. So again, both these headphones are great for pretty much most use cases. They're also noise canceling, Bluetooth headphones. So wireless is pretty good. Noise canceling is really great for both these headphones. With the XM3, you have a bit more customization options. So not only with the sound quality, but also even with the amount of noise canceling, because you can optimize it for different environments and stuff like that. But the better neutral sounding out of the two is the QC35. Now, some people prefer the sound of the XM3, especially with the fact that you have the variable sound with the EQ. But again, if you want the most neutral sounding and the better, more comfortable option, then you would go with the QC35. But again, choosing one of these two, you can't go wrong in terms of best Bluetooth headphone.
I would say if you're looking for a overall all-rounder headphone, wireless, wired, noise canceling, passive playback. What else? I don't know. If you're looking for an all-rounder headphone, these two are the options. They're a bit pricey, but yeah, if you want to just grab a headphone blindly and pay a bit of money, these are the two options that you have.
So we'll go with the best earbuds and in-ears follow-up. So you have the QC30, so the Bose QC30, the KZ line that we've tested so far. I'll just put it over there. And the One More Triple, which are right here. So for best earbuds, if you want an all-rounder, the QC30 noise canceling earbud design that's a bit more comfortable than the typical in-ears of the KZs and the One More Triple. But again, the QC30 have this slight issue with the neckband itself, where it starts peeling off a little bit after a couple months use. So we ended up reducing its build quality a little bit. But if you don't want something wireless, then you can go with some of the KZ headphones that we've tested. They have a detachable earbud, which is pretty, let me not break it, which is pretty cool for their price range around $50, $60. But if you want the better sounding of the bunch, then you might want to go with a One More Triple instead.
For the QC30, I would say that one shortcoming is that it doesn't have passive playback, so it's only wireless. If the battery dies, it doesn't work. But the noise canceling is really good. The sound is really good. You can even change the noise canceling incrementally from fully closed to fully open. So if you want to run with them and you want to hear your surroundings, you can do that. But some people may not like the neckband design. That's the only thing that I don't like about them. Yeah. We have a question from Saul Paul. What's the best Bluetooth headset for PS4 under $100?
So under $100, you might have to go wired. And in that case, you can go with the Cloud 2. You can go with actually the Logitech, the Logitech stuff is pretty good, like the G433. You may have the Logitech G933, which is under $100, I think. I'll have to check. Let me just check here.
I think it's $90 or something.
So the G933 has a wireless dongle that will work with the PS4 and your PC, but not with the Xbox. So in this case, no, it's a bit above above
Is that
100.
US or Canada?
US,
Okay.
yes. So US is 113. So for $13, it's a really good headset. Like you get programmable buttons. It's a good frequency response. A lot of customization options. So if you're looking for something around $100 wireless, then it's either the G933 or the SteelSeries Arctis 7,
That's pretty
which is
cheap
really
too,
good,
yeah.
really good too. But it's I think around 130. You can stay strict.
For the price, that's really good. So if you want to pay a little bit more,
Yeah.
yeah, the Arctis 7 is really good.
The Arctis 7 is really good. So
Same
also
price?
About, yeah,
Oh, go
113.
with the Arctis 7. Yeah.
They have a bit more features, and the headband itself is a solid like piece of metal, which is that's pretty good. But again, if you want to go below that, then you're most likely going to go wired, and in that case, you can go with like we said, the G433, the Cloud 2, and yeah, even the Creative Sound Blaster is not bad.
All right.
So
So best truly wireless earbuds?
Oh, we actually have quite a few now. It was a bit harder in the beginning. All right. So overall, I do have a preference for the Jabra Elite 65T. They're pretty good overall. But again, depending on your use case, which is why we have 4 on the table right now. So the Elite 65T have a customizable sound, a great EQ. They isolate pretty well. The case is pretty compact. They have a total of 15 hours of battery life, so 5 hours of continuous playtime, and then 2 additional charges in the case. Now, the size and fit might not be for everyone, so that's where you would make your choice.
But they're in-ears, so if you don't like an in-ear like me, then you probably would prefer an earbud, which doesn't go in the ear canal.
And in that sense, you can probably talk about the Bose.
So my favorite truly wireless headphone right now is the SoundSport 3 by Bose. They're earbuds, so they don't go in the ear canal. They don't isolate that much, so it's good if you want to run outside or just walk outside and be aware of your environment. They sound really good. The only issue I have with them is that they're wireless. The Bluetooth is a bit unreliable. You get some disconnections every once in a while. It could be a bit annoying if you really care about that, but for me, it's not a huge problem, and they're a bit expensive, right?
Yeah, they're a bit expensive compared to some of the other ones. Then you have the last 2. So if you're an iPhone owner, iPhone, iPad, if you're
Apple
into the
user,
Apple user, then the AirPods are really good for their integration with the platform itself. It's really it's one of the better, more stable, truly wireless.
If they again
stable in terms of wireless.
So I find the Bose headphones to be a little big in your ear. So when I'm in public, I tend not to use them. I prefer the Apple AirPods. They are a bit more slightly stealthy, more stealthy. They don't have the bass of the Bose, but they're really comfortable. The wireless range is really good. The Bluetooth is really reliable. Battery life is really good. The case is really good.
Battery life is like 25 hours in total, which is really good.
And if they fit in your ears properly, they're really stable and super comfortable. With me, when I have them in, at times I have to check to see if they're in my ears or in the case. It's like when you have glasses on and you forget that you have glasses on. But the sound is not as good as the Bose, and if they don't fit right, then they're not going to be comfortable and they may keep falling out. And also pretty expensive.
Then for Android, you have the Gear Icon X. Again, they're pretty good headphones overall. They have a customizable sound, all that. The only issue is that the waterproofing is not the best. One of the earbuds got clogged. We ended up having to clean it with a bit of isopropyl alcohol. But again, so these are your choices in terms of best truly wireless options. So Jabra or Bose, and then for either platform, AirPods or Gear Icon X.
Okay. So we have a question from Gazand, I would say. What's the best sport earphones?
Oh, we actually have this in here. So the best sports headphones that we've tested so far, 2018, we have the Jaybird X4 and the Jaybird Tara, which are the kind of model just underneath. Are they on the table here?
I think one of the Jaybirds. No?
Yeah, I'll go grab them. They're just behind the shop.
But yeah, if you're looking for sports in ears, then it's Jaybird.
Yeah, Jaybird X4, Jaybird Tara, if you want something just a regular wireless in-ear. You can also go again for the Jabra Elite Active 65T because they have a bit better sweat proofing than some of the other truly wireless in-ears that we've tested.
You can do this. You can also go with the AirPods, but they are not sweat resistant, and they can actually like get damaged by that. And I think we don't need to go get the Jaybirds.
Well, we have two other like budget options in best sports category.
Yeah.
You have the Anker SoundSpud Spirit X, which are also waterproof, similar to the Anker Curve, which are one of our best sellers. It's just
and pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap too. It's around $39.
Yeah.
You get an ear hook design that doesn't fall. It's a pretty good headphone overall. And the JBL Endurance Sprint, which again, it's probably on the shelf. It's also ear hook design, decent sound that sounds fairly neutral, and also waterproof. So these are your options for best sports. You would go with Jaybird X4, Jaybird Tara, then Elite Active if you want something truly wireless, and then Endurance Sprint or SoundSport Spirit X for...
Do you still have your pen?
Oh yeah.
So, because I think we're not going in order, so let's cross off the ones so the categories. The next question is about best open back headphones under $100 with relatively neutral sound.
Under $100, so we can actually check the article here.
Yeah, or we can just talk about open back headphones. So best open back headphone under $100, I would say it's the Superlux.
You also have the Bayer Dynamics. Oh no, it's not.
It's not under $100, but it's close to under $100. So I would say the Superlux 681, and if you want to pay a little bit more, then it's going to be the Bayer Dynamic 990. If you can find the Philips 9500, it's out of production, so you probably won't be able to find it sub $100. But if you can get that, that's a pretty good one.
The 7506 should also be maybe under.
But that's closed back.
Yeah.
They want an open back. And the question is by Abdullah Al-Naqib, I would say.
So again, just to resume, the best budget ones that we've tested so far, open back, the Superlux HD 681. Now, if you're not completely stuck to the idea of under 100, then we would strongly suggest going up to 140 and going for the Bayer Dynamic DT 990. But then there's also the Philips SHP, but it's a bit discontinued. It's hard to find, so it's not the best.
And continuing with open back headphones, then if you want to pay even more, you can go with the Sennheiser HD600, which is a really good sounding headphone. It's a bit less comfortable than the 650, but the 650 sounds a bit darker. So if you want a really comfortable headphone, go with the 650. If you want a better sound, which is slightly less dark, go with the 600. The other options would be the Hi-Fi-Man Sundara, the Hi-Fi-Man Anando or Edition X, and the Sennheiser HD800S.
Ananda.
That's the Ananda. It's about $1,000, I think.
This is about $1,000. This is about
$400. Yeah. These two are planar dynamic. They're open back, really leaky, really loud. So you have to use them in isolation. I would say my pick would be the HD800S. You need to EQ it a bit. It's a bit bright, lacks a bit of bass. The Ananda needs a bit less EQ, but it's a planar magnetic headphone. So I would say maybe the production maybe is not as consistent as the dynamic headphones. I think that's for the open mic headphones.
Cool. So tackle some more questions.
Okay, so there's a question by Auto Mutant. Any 7.1 support under $100?
I'm assuming you're talking about Dolby surround sound.
Yeah, for gaming.
Yeah, so we don't have proper tests for surround sound yet. So it's something that we are only planning to add it in the upcoming test bench. So for now, we haven't kept track as well for the surround sound, especially for like the more budget gaming headphones. Yeah. So we don't have a direct recommendation for now, but you can always check out our best gaming headsets, and with that from the reviews you can check, you will see. So if it does have 7.1, it will be mentioned in the app section of the review.
So I would say we continue with gaming headphones and we go with the best gaming headphones. We have to buy SteelSeries, so Arctis 7 and Arctis Pro with Game DAC.
So if you're gaming mostly on PC, the Arctis Pro plus Game DAC is probably the best headphone you can get for gaming, just because you get all the customization options.
Show internet.
Oh, so
Show the website. Okay.
So sorry. So you get all the customization options at your fingertips because of the Game DAC. It has from the EQ all the way to the lighting options. You can tweak it via the Game DAC, which is pretty cool. And if you want something wireless, we haven't reviewed the Arctis Pro wireless yet, which are a bit more expensive than the Arctis 7. But if you do want something wireless, then the Arctis 7 would be a good alternative to that.
Then we have the Odyssey Mobius.
Yeah, right here. You can talk a bit more about that.
Which is another really good all-rounder headphone. So you can use it wired, you can use it wirelessly. Has a really great mic. Has a really great sound, customizable sound, comes with different presets. Has a really good virtual soundstage. Has head tracking. The only thing it doesn't have, I would say, it doesn't have noise cancelling.
Yeah, no.
But other than that, if you're looking for an all-rounder headphone and you don't care about noise cancelling, then it's between this, the Bose QC35-2, and the Sony 1000X Sim3. But yeah, if you want something that you can also use for gaming, then this is the one to go with. And but also pricey.
A bit pricey.
About $500.
A bit pricey.
Yeah.
$500.
And they're also planar magnetic, which you won't notice it because it's closed back. But just so you know, the other two headphones are dynamic. Then the third one we have here are a bunch of budget ones. So the Corsair HS60,
so
the G43, which we talked, 433, which we talked about.
Corsair HS60, any kind of budget gaming headset that falls within this category. So you have the Corsair HS60, the Creative Sound Blaster H5, the G433, and the HyperX Cloud. They come with like a USB DAC, so that you get a bit more options on PC. And most of them that we've mentioned have a removable mic, so you can use them as casual headphones outdoors.
Okay, so we have a question by Paul Poco. Headphones that don't get in the way of glasses. So there are two issues with glasses. One is comfort, one is the bass delivery. With a bunch of closed back headphones, if you wear glasses, there's a chance that you break the seal between the headphones and your head and you get a drop in bass. The other issue is that it may just be touching your glasses and putting pressure on your forehead and makes it uncomfortable. For the first scenario, most active noise cancelling headphones use their noise cancelling system as a feedback mechanism to check for seal. So Bose QC35-2, the 1000X M3, the Skull Candy Venue. What else? Well, if you look in the frequency response consistency on the website, you will find the ones that do well. So those are the headphones that do well with glasses. In terms of comfort, I would say go either with in-ears or earbuds. Then the next option would be on-ears, maybe like the Audio-Technica M60. But then if you want to have over-ears, then you have to go with the one that gets the highest comfort score in our tests. So I would still say maybe the QC35 is pretty good.
So yeah, so depending on which aspect you care most about, then there's two tests you can check. So the frequency response consistency will give you a pretty good, for closed back headphones, would give you a pretty good outline of if they're going to be consistent, and mostly it might be an issue with either the placement, but also with glasses. And so checking that would tell you, for example, comparing the G433, can you show that on? So comparing the G433, you can see the bass consistency is very wide compared to a noise cancelling headset like the WH-1000XM3, which
pretty good.
It's pretty good. It uses kind of like a feedback loop to kind of
check for the bass,
for the seal, enhance the bass response.
Yeah.
And then for comfort, you can always just go to the comfort test, and then if you go directly to the comfort test, you would have all the table of the list of from most comfortable to those that are a bit stranger.
We have another category which is a bit redundant, bass noise cancelling headphones. We already touched on it.
Touched on it.
So get the Bose or the Sony QC35 II or 1000X XM3. What else would you recommend? The AKG N700 NC, which we're going to publish soon. The noise cancelling is not as good as those two, but the sound is pretty good. I think the price is pretty much the same, so hard to justify. Then there is the QC30, the Bose, the earbuds. Yeah, it's basically the Bose and the Sony 1000 XM3. Another question. So would you guys agree, this is by the Gaming Audiophile, would you guys agree that due to the inherent inability of earphones or IEMs to interact with the pinna, they can never compete with the best over-ear headphones? I would say two things. First, even the soundstage of over-ear headphones, even the big good ones like the HD800S or the Hi-Fi Man Ananda, even though it's better, it's not really comparable to speakers. So the difference between an in-ear and a large over-ear is a lot smaller than the difference between the large over-ear and a pair of speakers. So don't expect a huge difference. The other thing is that if you have DSP and you're creating soundstage using DSP, then in-ears probably would actually do better because they don't interact with your pinna, so you're just getting what the DSP is doing. With over-ear headphones, they're going through your pinna and then the virtual pinna that the DSP is creating. So I wouldn't say that they are that terrible, and they're not also hopeless, because if you use DSP, then you can have a great soundstage with them. So we have
just
two more left.
2 more categories
we do them
cover.
quickly.
Yeah.
So one is best close-back audiophile headphones. I would say the choices are
the M50X.
Audio-Technica M50X. There is also the Bluetooth version of it out, the M50X BT. Then there is still the Odyssey Mobius.
Because of the virtual surround sound.
And also they sound pretty good even without the DSP. What else? There's the Sony MDR7506, which is pretty cheap.
They sound almost as good as the M50, but they're a bit brighter overall.
And a bit less comfortable, because the ear cup's a bit more shallow. But M50, if you want to go wired close back for like critical listening, it's the M50, And then you can get the wireless version, M50X BT. And the other one is just best budget headphones.
So we have a couple contenders. For over-ears, you have the MPOW H5. They're below $50. They're noise cancelling, although the noise cancelling is not that great. Sound quality is pretty decent though. Battery life is like 12 hours. So a good, and the build quality is not bad. Like the glossy backplates might not be for everyone, but again, the build quality itself is not bad for something that's below 50. Then
there is the Anker Soundbud Curve.
Then you have the Soundbud Curve, which should be on the desk here. There you go. So the Soundbuds Curve, as previously mentioned, they're ear hook design, decent for sports. They have an in-ear fit, but they're a bit more comfortable than typical in-ears.
They don't go inside too much.
Into your ear canal. So very comfortable, decent sounding for something that's, I think it's $25 right now, which is pretty affordable.
Gaming HyperX Stinger.
Is it there? On the desk here.
But it's a good, cheap gaming headphone.
So the HyperX line for gaming does pretty well. The HyperX Stinger, unfortunately, you can't remove the mic, so they won't be as versatile for outdoor use. But if you're just using it for gaming, then like the boom microphone reproduces your voice very well.
And it's a pretty big microphone, so it's going to be visible if you go outside with it.
Sound quality is also pretty good. So for like purely gaming or to use around your house, then the HyperX Stingers are a great choice. And then lastly, for critical listening, you have the Superlux HD681. Again, sub $50, good for critical listening. They might not be the most comfortable overall, but again, if you're just focused on sound, then
the build quality is not great either. But for sound, they're for the price, you can't beat them.
So we've covered most of the
headphones we wanted to talk
about. So we're just going to answer a couple more questions based on your feedback.
Yeah. So there is a question by Henrik Joss. Headphones for traveling, mostly car, around $200 to $300 or euros.
Okay, so that's a pretty decent budget range because in that, well, decent range for price because in that range you also have the, like we mentioned, the two best noise cancelling headphones that we reviewed, so the QC35 and the XM3. However, traveling by car, I'm assuming you mean when you're in the car, or like maybe as a passenger. In that
Hopefully.
case, in that case, maybe the over-ears might not be the best choice just because it might get a bit warm over time. You might get a bit tired because of the clamping force. Noise cancelling wise, the QC30's earbud design is a bit more comfortable than like most of the like in-ears. And since they have a round neck fit, it might not be for everyone, but it's a bit more portable than the bigger over.
So overall, it sounds like you're looking for something that has noise cancelling, right?
Yeah, ideally noise cancelling.
Then it's going to be QC30, QC35, Sony 1000X. 1000 XM3.
If you really don't care about noise cancelling though, then you can go with a lot of these wired in-ears. As long as you get the good tips, like for the AS10, isolation is really great if you get the good tip size for your ear. So there's a couple of in-ears that can isolate as well as some of the active noise cancelling options if you want something a bit more portable. But if you want noise cancelling then the best is between QC35, XM3, and the earbuds QC30.
The next question is by Massimo Fantinato. I think we got an email from him at some point. The name is familiar. Mm-hmm. Why M50 instead of M40? M40 shouldn't be more neutral. The measurements are pretty close, but I would say through listening and also looking at the measurements, the M50 sounds a little bit better. Not a huge difference. So the M50 and M40 sound a lot closer to each other than M40 and M30. So if you want to save a little bit of money, you can go with M40. But if the money is not an issue, M50 sounds better. And I think measure is also slightly better.
We can show it on the graph here. So there might be a couple different lines, so it does get a bit hard to see.
But they're pretty close.
Close. So the dash line is the target, red M50X, red and orange M50X, left and right, and then green and purple M40.
But when we listened to them at some point a few months ago, M50 sounded slightly better. Again, not a big difference. The next question, I think that's all the questions that
there is a bit of a difference in build quality though.
Yeah, so M50 overall is better, but so not by much.
The build quality of the M50s is a bit better. Comfort is almost the same, but again, you get a bit more cables with the M50. So for the price jump, you get something that sounds a little bit better and then all the additional features. But if you just want the sound, then M40s could be good enough, but again, they won't sound as great as the M50X.
Yeah. The next question is Arbiter for Hees. What do you think about the Nighthawk's Carbon? I think I'm thinking about the ones that you're talking about. I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, their treble of these headphones didn't sound great. I may be wrong. Maybe I'm talking about a different brand or a different company, so I may be wrong. We haven't measured them. We don't have them in the office. But I think their treble sounded a bit off, so I wouldn't. That's all the comment that I have on them. And are they still making them? If it's the same company, I think they stopped making headphones. I don't know. I may be wrong. Master Leaf CNC QC20, is it recommended by you guys in 2018 as a noise cancelling ear headphone? It's a lot cheaper now compared to the QC30.
So the QC30 are the wireless upgrade. Again, they also sound a bit better overall, especially in the treble range where they don't sound as dark overall. We would recommend the QC30 just because overall they perform a bit better, and the fact that the wireless is a bit more convenient, especially with headphones, with phones like getting further away from the headphone jack. But if you can find a pair of QC20s, then not only their noise cancelling is really good, battery life is great because they're wired design, so they last really long. sound is also decent, although they will be a bit dark overall. But yeah, if you can get a pair of QC20s, then of course go ahead. But if you do want the wireless design, then the QC30 would be a bit better, also sound-wise.
Lorenzo Norm, are you going to review the Math MS50 XBT? I think they mean the Audio Technica ATH M50B XBT. We have already measured it. It measures pretty closely to the M50X. The mid-range is slightly worse, but that could be just a difference between the two units that we have. It's going to be published within a week or so, I would say. Yeah, so we have it. We've measured it. Pretty similar to the M50X, and the battery life is pretty good too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The next question, again by Master Leaf CNC. Will you guys ever test the Shure SE846? I think is it like the more expensive version of the other in-ears by Shure that we have?
Yes, I believe so. 846. We can just have a look. Because we have tested a couple of the Shure in-ears, and surprisingly, the 215, which is the most budget option, is the most balanced sounding out of all of them. We can actually.
So they seem too expensive.
Let's see.
We have more questions we have to go through, so we have to be more quick. They're $900, so I don't think we're gonna get them anytime soon unless they are high on the suggestions list. So we have a suggestion list. You can vote for the headphones you want them to be reviewed. But because of their price range and also the fact that the other less expensive Shures didn't do that great, probably not high on our list.
More expensive. Sure.
More expensive. Yeah. Well, less expensive than the 800 series.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
The cheapest one measured the best so far. Yeah. The next question is by Lorenzo again, this is a different Lorenzo. Backbeat Pro 2 or M50X? So M50X is wired, then
I guess the Bluetooth variant,
or the M50X BT. But overall, the main difference I would say comes down to comfort and sound quality,
and also noise canceling.
And noise canceling.
So the Backbeat Pro 2 are noise canceling. They don't have the best noise canceling, but their noise isolation.
They cancel some noise.
Yeah, would be better than the ATH M50X Bluetooth.
And I would say the Backbeat is probably slightly more comfortable. Maybe you can check on the website. But pretty similar.
It's pretty similar.
Sound-wise, M50X sounds more neutral.
There's no comfort.
The Backbeat Pro is a lot more bassy in the sub bass, to the point that if you're listening to bass-heavy music, your eyeballs are gonna shake. If you want that, then go with the Backbeat. If you want something with a more balanced bass, then the M50. Yeah. So that's a lot of bass.
You can show that on the screen. So that will be the Backbeat Pro.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of low bass. So there will, if you are into more bass-heavy music, then the Backbeat Pro 2 will probably be the better choice.
Do we have the HD 820?
We do. It's right here.
Okay. So the gaming audiophile. What about the Sennheiser HD820 as best close-back audiophile headphones? No. They're like $3,000, and their measurement is pretty weird. They sound decent, good-ish. But for the price, no, even without the price, I would go with the M50. And the other thing is that their ear cups are so huge that they have difficulty getting a proper seal across different people. And it has a really bad bass frequency response consistency. So if you get them, you actually don't know how much bass you will be getting with them unless you measure them yourself.
Can you show the frequency consistency?
So that's really bad, so no. The 800S, if you EQ them, it's one of the best headphones you can get. The HD820, no.
So yeah, for the price.
I wasn't too negative.
It's just for the price, they don't sound as good as the HD800S. So just get the 800S.
So Jonas, hello. What about the Sony WH-8900N? I ask about sound quality, please. I just ask about sound quality, please. That's the Here On 2, right?
Yeah, Here On 2.
Okay. So the sound quality is pretty good. Actually, more neutral than the XM3. It's more close to the Sony QC35. But the noise cancelling is not as good as the XM3. So if you care about only sound quality, I would actually recommend the 900N. And they have an app, I believe, right? So you can add more bass if you want. Yeah. More questions?
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for the questions to come in.
Yeah. So in the meantime. time. I can show it compared to the XM3, just so that.
So Derek Cortez, is the Hi-Fi Man HD 400i worth $178?
Is the Hi-Fi Man
400i. I would say yes. Two issues with them, maybe three. One is that they sound a tiny bit bright. So if you can EQ their sibilance range 6 to 10K, they're going to sound even better. The other two is that some build quality issues that we've heard about.
Yeah.
Their headband seems to break easily, and maybe some drivers die at some point.
Yeah.
So the build quality is not quite there. The sound is pretty good, slightly on the bright side.
We would usually recommend going for the Sundara instead, but even the Sundara also has
Yeah.
quality control issues. Like the build quality of the headband itself is a bit more durable, but the drivers is where the build quality.
If you want open back for that price, I would go with their Dynamic
Dynamic
DT990.
Probably.
Yeah. The Hi-Fi Man ones are planar magnetic, so maybe more exotic that way, but overall I would prefer the...
Like they sound good,
the
they just
Dynamic.
may not last as long just because quality
Yeah.
control is.
I would say the Bear Dynamic even sounds better. Anyway, another question by Abdullah Al-Naghib, I think. Have you guys tested the Tin Audio T2? Not yet, but we have purchased it.
Yeah, we have purchased it. It's in the office.
So
soon.
I would say expect the review in December.
December.
Yeah.
Conservative, but December. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Question by Palash Kachi, I don't know. M50X versus XM2, just for sound, ignoring noise cancelling. I would say M50X BT. So, if you want a neutral sound, the Sony is a bit more bass heavy than they should be. So, if you want too much bass, then go with the Sony. If you want more of a neutral sound, go with the M50. Rui is asking, I need to get new ear pads for my M50X. Do you know if with the new ear pads, the sound will be as good? I would say with the new ear pads, you may not like the new sound because your old ear pads have been deformed, so they sound a bit different. But if you get the stock ear pads that is made for the M50, then they should sound better. They should sound as intended by Audio-Technica. But it may take some time for you to get used to them. Massimo is asking a question. Do you guys will ever measure the impedance response of headphones, or at least add the declared impedance? We're planning on it. We don't probably gonna mention the declared impedance because it may not match what the reality is. But the plan is to measure the impedance of headphones, the maximum loudness that it can get with a Bluetooth device like a phone, and the drivability, so how much power you need to get how much loudness. It's high on the to-do list, but it takes a bit of time to do that, so expect it, I would say, sometime next year.
Yeah.
Anthony Berryman, what about the Mr. Speaker's Aeon closed back?
So we actually have a tester in the office who really likes these.
Yeah, we have a diehard fan in the office, which he thinks we should get them. The measurements, based on what we saw in inner fidelity, looks pretty promising. We don't have them in the office, so we can't really comment, but they look pretty good.
Again, you can always upvote the ones that you want us to review on the, I can show it here, how to navigate there.
So I'll just continue with the question until you show that.
So on that, might as well. So on our suggested page, you can always just add the link of the headphone that you want us to review, and then if it gets enough votes, we will do them.
Yeah. Rero 83. Do the Sony 1000 XM3 lose audio quality when EQ'd? I heard they can't be EQ'd in high quality mode.
Yes. So if there's a codec choice that you have at the bottom. So if you choose HD priority, you can't EQ, and it would automatically default to the regular SPC codec if you want to be able to adjust.
But I would say the difference in those two different modes is not going to be that much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you want to EQ them, probably you're going to get more yield out of the headphones by EQing them to your liking, and you probably are not going to notice the difference in the codec.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to notice it as much if you actually EQ the headphones.
Yeah. So if you want to EQ them, probably that would be better. Yeah. Walter Henderson, are there any headphones with good active noise cancellation for around $150? My priority is good noise cancellation for loud flights rather than audio quality. I would say no.
Let's see.
For $150, I don't think there are that many good noise cancel. Well, I don't know any noise canceling headphones that would reduce a lot of bass. Then your other option would be some in-ears that they provide a lot of active noise, a lot of passive noise canceling in the bass range. The Jaybird headphones do that. I think one of the KZ headphones, one of them does that.
The AS10, just because it's a bit thinner when it goes in your ears.
So I would say go to the website and sort in noise canceling for in-ears, and the headphones that are up on the list, they are really good for passive isolation. But for that price, I don't think you can find anything active.
Most of them that
the best is like the Backbeat.
Yeah, which are around $200. The Sennheiser HT450 have better noise canceling, but again, they're around $199. So for $150, there aren't that many noise canceling options that do noise canceling really well. They may have a decent package for everything else, but for just noise cancellation, it's not the best price range.
Next question is by Jiraiya D'Souza. Bear Dynamic MMX300 Gen 2 or Sennheiser Game 1? We don't
have the Bear Dynamic.
But the Game 1 is pretty good. The microphone is pretty good. The sound is pretty good. Pretty similar to the 5.8 or 5.9 series of the regular open back headphones by Sennheisers. So they're really good sounding, but open back. So they're going to be leaky and not isolating.
So it's one of the few gaming headsets that has an open back design. So that might be a concern for some.
We have a question by Insane Clown Posse. Are the Sony 1000 XM3 worth buying for my iPhone XS Max? Why not?
Again, the app works on iOS and Android equally well, so you won't have any issues there. Maybe you won't be able to select aptX HD, I believe that it has, because the aptX selection is more an Android thing, but you still get AAC on iOS. I have to double check.
So the only thing I can think of is latency. So I haven't used the Sony with my iPhone, but when I use the Bose with my iPhone, there is a big latency when watching videos. You don't get that with the Beats X or the AirPods, which have the same W1 chip that is made by Apple. So they compensate for the latency. I don't know if you get the same high latency with the Sonys. If so, then they're not going to be ideal for watching YouTube, for example. But if they do compensate, they will be great.
So you may not get the same codec options on iOS, but again, the app, the EQ, everything else that is essential to the XM3 works perfectly fine on iOS. So they'll be a great choice.
Lorenzo Amatuna, what is a possible upgrade from M40X, ignoring M50X?
Upgrade. Maybe TT770s?
No, I wouldn't say
so.
No?
Yeah?
They're really good. Either go with the M50 or just enjoy the M40s. They're pretty good. They're not too expensive. So
the DT770s, I think they're not bad.
They're maybe a bit too sibilant.
A bit too sibilant?
Yeah. A bit too sibilant.
A bit too sibilant.
So yeah, they're really good headphones, even though they're not too expensive. You don't have to get something crazy expensive to have a good sound.
You do have the Shure 440 though, SHR 440.
Pretty similar to the Audio-Technica. It's more of a cross grade than an upgrade.
So you're not upgrading, but it's an option.
So we're gonna answer one more question, and then we're done for the day. I'm waiting for the question to come.
Well, in the meantime, I can show.
Okay, I found one, but okay. So we have one Lorenzo. So is it worth to connect the M50X to a DAC? Will the sound quality improve a lot? I would say, so the difference between DACs is not that much, even between like a $10 DAC and a $1,000 DAC. It may be better, but it's not going to be as much as the price may tell you. The benefit of getting a DAC, if it's an external DAC, would be, so it's not too close to your computer, so it's not getting that much interference from the fan noise or the CPU noise. So if you don't already hear background noise with your current system, you don't need to upgrade your DAC. If you do, then getting an external DAC may be helpful. And the last question for real, it's going to be by Jacksonville, which is asking, which one do you recommend for going to the gym shopping?
I didn't quite get that.
Which headphone do you recommend for going to the gym and or shopping, I guess?
Okay, so by price range and I guess features, so if you want a truly wireless headphone that so that you don't have a cable running in the back of your head, then the Jabra Elite Active 65T would be the best sports headphones, just because they have a bit better water resistance than some of the other ones we compared, like the Gear Icon X. Now, if you want to go down a level and don't mind the wireless design, then you have the Jaybird X4 or the Jaybird Tara. So the X4 has the more complete list of features. The Tara is a slightly, not underperforming, but similar performance, just less features.
More budget.
More budget, there you go. Then if you want to go really budget in that price range, you would have the Anker Soundbud Spirit X or the JBL Endurance Sprint. You can also go for the Curve, but between the Anker Soundbuds Curve and the Spirit X has a bit better water resistance, since they actually have an IPX7 rating compared to.
And there are a few more questions that we won't be able to answer today, but you can email us or go on the discussion forum, or maybe in the next live stream we will be able to answer them.
Yeah, so we're glad that you were able to tune into our Q&A, and we hope we were able to help in your decision making. And yeah, tune in for the next time. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.